In some situations, it may be useful to have text in a presentation to describe a gadget playing in a placeholder, or perhaps an entire paragraph devoted to explaining something about your company or product. Now this can be done with simple gadgets that you can create in the Google Gadget Editor, or there's a different way to do it where you can choose the font, size, color, and style of your text. This can be done by putting it directly into the HTML code of your presentation. It's helpful to have some understanding of how HTML works before taking on this task. However, if you follow along with the visual steps in this video, you should be just fine. So let's get started. Step number 1. Go to the HTML tab of your presentation. This shows you all the HTML code for your presentation, including the height, width, top and left justifications for your placeholders. Notice that all placeholders of your presentation exist inside the body tag, so all placeholders and text that you add needs to be included in between the open and close tags for body. All placeholders in the presentation are referred to by an HTML tag called div. Now as you can see here in our presentation, we have one div, which means we have one placeholder. Step number 2. Copy the entire placeholder from start to finish of the div tag, including all text inside of it, and paste it somewhere inside the open and close of the body tag. The main reason for doing this is so you don't have to type it all out again. However, if you would prefer to do that, you can feel free to do it. Step number 3. Remove the ID name and placeholder equals true values from the text that you just pasted. The reason for this is that we are not creating a new placeholder. We are simply adding text to the presentation, so you don't want it to be interpreted as a placeholder. Step number 4. Enter your text after the last closing bracket of all the div properties and before the closing bracket of the div tag. This way, all the location properties of your text are established before the text is even rendered. Before we move on to step 6, let's take a look at what we've accomplished so far. Save your presentation and preview it. Now you can see your text in your presentation. However, we don't want just flat black text. We want to give it some style. So on to step 6. The text in your presentation will be rendered using CSS Fonts. For our presentation, let's copy this entire example from HTML.net and paste it into our presentation. Don't include the open and closing brackets, as we'll be adding those ourselves. Now we can't just copy and paste. There's a little bit more text that we have to add. The first thing that we have to add is a style tag. This lets the HTML code know that we are using a style to apply to the text below. Next, you have to name your style. Type in a period followed by the name. For our example, let's call it test style, followed by an opening and closing squiggly bracket. Inside those brackets, paste the example we copied from HTML.net. Now comes the important part. We need to tell our text to call upon this style to use it. So inside the div that comes before our text, type the following: class equals quotation test style quotation. Now when you save and preview your presentation, you'll notice that all the elements of that style have been applied to your text. If you would prefer to include all the style information in the div that comes before your text, you can do that as well. As you can see, HTML.net provides an example of this as well that we can copy. Remember to include this information before the closing quotation mark or it will be disregarded. Now when you save and preview your presentation, you'll notice that all the elements of the style have also been applied to your text. And there you have it. Instead of creating a text gadget, you can just add the text directly to your presentation and edit it how you please. I hope you found this video informative, and if you have any questions, please let us know in the forum. Thanks for watching.